What's up, guys? This is Harv with Harv's Corner. Today, we're going to be going over how to build on uneven ground, how to build on a hill where it's not flat, where it's aggravating, where it pisses you off. That's what we're going to talk about. So, building on, it sucks, man. When you find that spot that you really want to build on, but the ground's not very level and it's a little annoying, there's a couple different ways to do this, and we'll talk about those couple different ways of how I do it. So I'm on the island server, and I just kind of roamed around to this little spot over here on the one of the southern mountains across from the redwoods. And we're just gonna and this is a super steep incline. Like, I don't even know why you'd want to try to build a base here, but we're gonna go over it anyway. I figured if I exaggerated it, it would help kind of explain what we're trying to accomplish here. So there's one way that I would do it that will make things easier, and honestly, that's just pillaring up to a flat surface. Instead of building on foundations, you're building off of pillars. Now the pillars snap to each other, and they kind of adjust the height when they snap, when they line up with each other. So let's take like this path right here, right? So let's say we're trying to build something flat about halfway up. So we drop a pillar down, right? And we always want to pick the lowest point, right? From where we want to start. Let's say I want my house to start here. So we want to pick the lowest point, very lowest point. It's very, 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 very important that you do that. So what you do is you can snap another pillar to the top of it, right? So now I got two pillars stacked on top of each other. You see, when I try to put one over here, it snaps. See what I'm saying? And then we can just keep going, right? Until it stops doing that. So notice how it stopped doing that. So what we do is we come back here and we put it up another level. And now we can do that. And we can keep going. See what I mean? So now it's built out. So let's say we wanna build, something. I'm just do something small real quick, just to. Oop. We don't want to do that because that doesn't make any sense. So we do want to do this. And I mean, you don't necessarily have to have a pillar in every spot. If you're familiar, you know that you can build two ceilings out from a pillar. I'm just doing this, if anything, just to. I don't know why I'm doing this, to be honest with you. I could have left that middle wide open. Anyway, so you see that, right? We started off really high and we got to this low point over here. And now we're just gonna flat ceilings across, right? And now we got something flat on an incline. So now you have the pillars here. Now I have structure collision turned off on this, and I think that's kind of important when you're doing stuff like this. But now you have the pillars exposed. Now if you're thinking, Harv, I don't like the pillars showing up. I mean, it just doesn't look right to me. I want it to still look like a foundation. Well, then you just grab walls. And because I have structure collision turned off, I can sink these, they snap below the ground. And there you go. So it almost looks like a foundation, but it's not, you know what I mean? So you can still use that. But yeah, that's probably the easiest way to build on uneven ground that I can think of. So the other option that I will sometimes do, depending on how I'm building what I'm doing, is a combination of sinking the foundations and building downhill instead. And let's see if we can find kind of a spot to talk about that at. Maybe right around here. That might not be a bad idea. Yeah, this incline's not too bad. So let's put a foundation down, right? And I can't put a foundation here, right? I'm stuck. I can't put a foundation down here. They can't line up. It's annoying. So what we should be able to do is and this can be a little annoying. So if you notice, there's no snap point, right? So I can't snap it yet. So let's say I sink a foundation over here. And really, I'm just sinking them out to here because, again, you got to go two out before you can start sinking them again. So I'm going to sink them out here somewhere just to get the height that I'm looking for. Oh, nope. Pick this up. Nope. There we go. So we sunk that one down. And probably gonna have to sink it down one more time. Alright, so now we got that lower height, right? So now we can just, as soon as I select the foundation, come on, Harv. Bam. Alright. So now we've built down, right? This method works, but it gets a lot trickier when you're building the ceiling, because these foundations don't line up and they're not a ceiling apart. So when you're building the ceiling part, this will get a little bit tricky. What I would recommend is getting the ceiling to the top and then draping it down to overlap on all the sides so that it still looks clean when it's done. And I can kind of do that real quick for you and show you what I'm talking about here. Yep, see, can't drop it next to it, can't drop it this way, so we need to get to a point where we can, probably on this side. Alright, looks like we're going 7. 7 gonna be our lucky number? I think it's 7. I'll be honest, I lost count. Comment with how many times I sunk this down. I don't remember. I want to say it's 7. Good Lord, really? Man. That's annoying. Phew. Yeah, this method can aggravate you a little bit. Oh, what's up, dude? What are you doing over here? I'm trying to... Wildlife's always interfering whenever I'm trying to shoot it. There we go. That was what, 8? 7 or 8? I think it was 8. 9, 12, I don't know. Anyway, so clearly this method can be a little bit more aggravating. However, it does kind of conform to the lay of the land a bit better. And we can maybe finish this out a little bit. So the problem that you run into with this is, how do you do the roof right? Because the ceilings aren't going to line up the way they're supposed to. And again, you should have no collision turned on in order for any of this to work. In order for this to work the way that you probably want it to work. But I mean, it's always tricky depending on how you're doing this. But let's let's say we do here. And I want the ceiling, and I'm just going to do something flat just to save time here. And what we do is we can build the ceiling out from the top using the highest point that we took. And then we can just go straight down with it. What we end up with is, well, that's not right. Get that out of here. Whoop, broke the foundation. Whoops. Is that not snapping right? There we go. So your snap points can be a little bit weird, but so that's an option, and you can box this in that way. So that's an option to box it in that way. You just want to build if you're doing something like that, you want to build from the highest point and kind of work your way down, and then just drape the walls over the foundations. And from the outside, it looks like it's conforming to the, kind of fitting with the land, but on the inside, it's not necessarily doing it. And then there's options when you get inside of this. You're like, well, what do I do with all this space? Because I have to put stairs everywhere. Where you can kind of put a ramp here, and then maybe put some railings up around the outside and make it different levels. You can definitely do this. And obviously you can make this longer. The other option that you have now, and this is specifically to the people that have access to S+, where you have stacking foundations. And let's go through and grab some of those. Oh, that's a regular wooden one. That one. Let's say, yeah, this is the S+ wooden foundation. So with the S+ wooden foundations, they can actually stack on top of each other. So let's say we want to build right here, and I want to drop a foundation right here. Well, I can snap them together, right? And you're like, well, now it's stuck in the ground, right? Like, how am I going to build on top of that? They stack on top of each other, so you could just stack them, and they clip to each other on the side as well. If you're not running S+ and have access to it, please do it. It's like mandatory with Arc. I think it just fixes so many little problems. But there you can kind of step it up and down and do your own little thing with it. You can still do, like stairs coming down, and then like a ramp or a staircase or something. You can still do that. And they snap really really, 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 really well. And they snap to the side of each other. Like, you know, I have to fill in these little gaps down here because they're snapping so well to the side of each other. So now you got something on the side of a hill that you still have sloped up. And so with S Plus, it makes it even easier because the foundations line up to each other perfectly. You're not going to have the problem like I did with sinking the foundations over here with the walls kind of overlaying over top. You won't have to worry about any of that because everything snaps perfectly to each other. You don't have to worry about it. So this is the third and final one, and that's primarily if you have access to the S Plus stuff. Now most people do now, but just in case you don't, those are the other two versions. So if I did not have access to S Plus, I would be running. I would probably be doing the pillar method, just because it's a little bit cleaner and looks a little bit better. I would be using sinking the foundations, maybe because it was something aesthetically I was trying to accomplish. But for efficiency and overall best performance, obviously using S Plus sinking foundation there is your best bet. So and again, this stuff works with any of the stuff that you're working with. So if you're working with stone or thatch or wood or tech or metal or whatever, you can still follow the same procedure with these two. Just keep in mind that if you have S Plus, if you're playing on a server that has S Plus, make sure that when you're making the structures that you're making S Plus structures, not wooden foundations, but S Plus wooden foundations. That's going to give you the look that you're looking for. That's what, if you just make regular wooden foundations, it's not going to work for you. So you want to be very careful when you're, mass producing foundations or pillars or ceilings or whatever to start building your base, that you have that in mind as well. But that's pretty much it about it. But as far as building on unlevel ground is concerned, that's usually my go-tos and how I operate. But let me know. Maybe I missed something. Maybe there's something you guys do differently. Let me know. Shoot me a comment. Please like. Please subscribe. Please, hit that subscribe button. Share the video out, and also hit that notification button so you know when we're putting out something new. Also comment if you want to see something different. If there's a question you have around ARC related, building related, taming related, crafting related, whatever the case is that you want to see, or maybe a certain mod review, whatever the case is, throw me a comment. Let me know what you want to see. I'll try to get to it as soon as I can. But again, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for spending some time with me. And until next time.